So welcome back to our workshop after this very intense lunch. I hope you all enjoyed it. And I hope you still have energy for the afternoon because we have the most interesting part, the industry intervention. So we'll have a few speeches for the industry. So in this session, we will switch from the research to the industry and to the technology development. So we'll see real industrial deployment and market perspective related with our project. So we'll hear from very short pitches from 3 companies that are actively working on hydrogen technologies and photoelectrochemical cell related developments at large scale energy solution. We will hear from each of them their vision, current challenges, and also expectations when it comes to scaling up innovative technologies and integrating them also into the real industrial and energy system. So the objective of this session is to bring a concrete industrial viewpoint to the discussion and help us better understand where research and innovation efforts should focus in order to accelerate the market uptake. And I think that these 3 speeches from the 3 companies will really help us also and give us a very interesting introduction to the following panel, where we will see a live conversations between the industry and the research to close our day. So without any further delay, I welcome on stage our first speaker, Dr. Csaba JANÁKY from eChemicles, one of the companies that is also part of OHPERA project. So, Csaba, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Evelina. I don't know how much I fulfill the criteria of being the industry voice, but I will try my best putting my industry hat on. Indeed, as it was said, I will be speaking about eChemicles, a company which we basically started 4 years ago with the interest of scaling and commercializing novel electrolyser technologies, so going beyond water splitting and beyond hydrogen. And just to start with a few highlights, what we have achieved in the past 3 years in the direct conversion of CO2 to CO and ethylene using renewable energy. We have developed our first containerized prototype system. Since then, we have already the second one, and I will speak about this a little later on. We have been selected as a top innovator by the Uplink program of the World Economic Forum, giving us a lot of exposure, being available to attend different events organized by the forum. And we have secured a strategic partnership with Bosch for scaling the production of our electrolyser stack. So what is our mission? We really want to contribute to the reduction of the environmental impact of the industry, but this can only be done if this is going to happen in a profitable way. So that's our mission. And we want to see, this is our new brand name, our EcoGen technology in each and every production plant. So to reach this, we need to go through certain milestones. Sort of our immediate milestone, which has been completed, is to finalize our containerized system, which can produce 100 tons of CO per year. We have the key partnerships in place, and the first commercial projects are ongoing. And what we are working towards now is 2 things. One, to make a product out of this containerized system for markets where they need on-site, on-demand CO production at a relatively small scale. And in parallel, we are working towards having our first of a kind plant installation. And that's what's going to bring us to the multi-hundred kiloton per year CO producing plants. So why working on CO and why working on this CCU technology? So there are many different sources of pressure what the industry is facing, not only in Europe, but also in other parts of the world. In Europe specifically, we have the problem of high energy costs, which is tied to high resource costs, so high natural gas prices, high oil prices, and this is also combined with problem with the supply chains. Just coming from Hungary today, we are facing an issue that we don't get the oil through the pipelines which we used to get before. So basically there is a clear supply chain disruption at the moment. And of course we have all the net zero goals we would like to achieve. But this will only happen if we can bypass we can answer these challenges in an environmentally positive and profitable way. Otherwise, it's not going to happen. And that's exactly what our technology does. So where are we in the CO2 utilization value chain? So we don't capture CO2. We work with companies who capture CO2 and use that captured CO2 and preferably green electricity to convert the CO2 to CO or further convert it to ethylene. And that's where we stop. So we don't go on the downstream all the way to SAF or plastics, but we stop at this platform molecule level because there are existing technologies how to process these further, either to plastics or fuels or other chemicals. We believe that by this we can provide the missing piece of this CCU value chain. And so where is carbon monoxide used nowadays? In a lot of chemistries, in a lot of industries, ranging from small scale, like pharma, agrochemicals, electronics, food. They all use CO2 these days, buying it in pressurized bundles, shipping it from large steam methane reformers 300 kilometers away, paying 50 times more for the CO than what is the gate price of CO at a steam methane reformer. For these users, we can provide a containerized solution for on-site, on-demand CO production, and they can make their CO at a substantially cheaper price, providing a 4 to 5 years return on investment of buying a container. And then we have the large industries, chemicals, metals, or steel specifically, liquid fuels, where of course much higher capacities are needed and margins are much lower. It's a tricky market in terms of numbers, because if somebody looks up what is the size of the CO market, then he or she will find this about 5 million tons CO per year. But in reality, it's more around 150 million tons per year. But in most cases, it's produced and consumed on site. So it's not going to show up in the statistics because the same entity is producing the CO, what consumes it. So it's a pretty big market. And of course, we can break down, this is what I mentioned on the previous slide, from small scale industries to large scale, and also what kind of installations would be needed to carry this out. You can find this market analysis we carried out together with Air Liquide and also published it recently. So we developed our own proprietary electrolyzer technology, being the first one reaching this 1 amps per square centimeter partial current density for the CO to CO conversion. This is beneficial from both a capital and operational cost perspective. The cell design is fully scalable, so the single cell area is 2,500 square centimeter, and in this specific prototype we have 18 cells assembled into the stack. We have shown that it can operate in a dynamic manner, so connected it to a solar PV farm and validated that even under rapidly changing intermittent power, it works quite nicely. And we have also developed an operando regeneration protocol where, without shutting down the electrolyzer, we can carry out a regeneration activation process to restore the original performance in case of any performance fading. We developed quite a lot of IP, so we have 5 patent families. Some of them are already granted all around the world. This should also be bold by now because we just got the granting decision in Europe, US, China, and we also have a freedom to operate analysis from the EIC. What I believe is very key, and this is, if I need to highlight one thing which I believe we do slightly differently than some other startup companies in the field, that we are very transparent. So we are happy to host future customers, partners on our site, to show them what we are doing, to let them into our labs and to see how we operate, how we proceed. And one flagship event was this open day last summer, when we invited key members of the value chain, like oil and gas companies like Total and Orlen, also Air Liquide, Siemens, Bosch, they were all present, and they could see the technology in operation, and we could discuss how to move on, how to develop the ecosystem, and how to start projects together. And so how we go on from this containerized prototype system, we have two trajectories or two paths. One is to make a product out of this smaller scale, so container scale system. This is the scope of our recently awarded EIC accelerator to serve those small-scale users who need CEO on-site on demand. But even in the meantime, we keep working on larger-scale installations with industry partners. And just to give an idea, so in a container, our goal is to have a 40-feet container, the next one which can host a stack or multiple stacks up to 500 kilowatt power. The first pilot plant we are working on together now with a big chemical player will host multiple stacks. It will be an actual plant somewhere between 1 to 5 megawatt capacity, generating a few kilotons of CO per year. And this is not coming from nowhere, so we are carrying out various feasibility studies with different entities. These are really detailed engineering, so we went down to the component level. This is just one example of the 3D model of one larger scale electrolyser unit. This really helps to understand the cost implications, what are the key parameters, what is the final levelized cost of carbon monoxide most sensitive to in terms of capital cost and operational cost, and what are the integration challenges, how such a technology can be integrated into a real industrial environment. So we have now 36 people, almost 10 PhDs. I'm very lucky to have my co-founder now on board full-time since this month, Richard Jones. He is the new CEO of the company, and I've become CTO from last week, so I can luckily focus more on engineering and science than before. Richard just guided through his previous company through a $100 million exit recently, so now he's working with us full-time. As I said, another very important point is that we really believe that we should focus on what we can do the best and then cooperate on everything else with credible partners. So we have some competitors, and I don't want to name them, who claim that they will be the new Shell or the new Exxon, and they want to do everything themselves, from CO2 capture to conversion to fuel scaling, plant building, everything. We frankly don't believe that that's going to happen. We really believe that we focus on the core part, which is, in our case, the membrane electrode assembly of the stack and the overall operational concept of the whole system, and collaborate on the others. And this is one strategic partnership which we signed now over a year ago, almost 1.5 years ago, with Bosch. And with them, we are industrializing the stack design. And we have scientists and engineers in the room. Just to give you an idea, now in the prototype system, we use bipolar plates, which are 2.5 millimeter thick, made of titanium. And then all the gas flow channels are etched via chemical etching. And now with the Bosch collaboration, the materials need is decreased so much that we are starting with 0.1 millimeter thick titanium films. So from 2.5 millimeter to 0.1. So you can think about the TEA and LCA implications of that. As I mentioned before, we were fortunate enough to get this recognition from the World Economic Forum. I'm there on the stage. We got it in Riyadh with 10 other companies, so altogether there were 11 companies in the crowd out of 350 applicants. So it was a really prestigious thing. Saudi is working very strongly on developing the world's first circular carbon economy. In fact, it's one of their national priorities, and they were able to also bring this through the G20 countries. So the G20 endorsed the concept of circular carbon economy, and what Saudi believes that right now they are the #1 oil exporters of the world. By 2030, they will be the #1 hydrogen exporters of the world, and by 2035, they will be the #1 synthetic fuel exporter of the world, and they are looking for all technologies which can support this vision. And so how we collaborate with partners. So regarding the containerized system, there is the option that we deliver our container to a site. In fact, not this one, but the next container will be delivered to a steel plant in Austria in April for a 3-month campaign when we'll be using CO2 from the steel plant, and the CO is planned to be recycled to the blast furnace in their technology. And also we sell containers, so we take pre-orders. The final product with all the approvals and everything will be ready by the end of this year, but we are already taking pre-orders. And regarding plant scale installations, the first step is always a feasibility study for that given industrial partner. When they tell us what is their exact CO2 source, they might even bring a bottle. This happened before a few times. They bring the bottle of CO2 from their CO2 source to test what's the effect of the impurities, what they have in their CO2, and then we do some sort of high-level engineering to give a high-level estimate about the cost implications and the levelized cost of CO, what we can make in their case. And upon the results of such a feasibility study, we can get to deeper engagements. And with this, I would like to thank you for your attention, and I will be here the whole day. So if you have any question, feel free to ask even later. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Csaba, for this very interesting presentation, giving us your insight on your multiple activities, starting from CO2 electrolyser, having also an overview of your collaborations, your industrial collaborations, which I found really interesting, and also, of course, starting from your environmental commitment on the energy transition, which is why we're all here. So thank you very much. And now I welcome on, well, not on stage, unfortunately, because she was supposed to be here, but unfortunately she had an accident, a small accident, so she couldn't be here. Julia Machado from HIVE Hydrogen. So she should be online. So,
hello.
Julia,
I'm
yes,
here.
we can hear you, Julia.
Perfect. Can I share my presentation?
Of course.
Just confirm if you can see everything okay now.
We can see it. You can go on. Thank you very much, Julia, for being with us
Perfect.
online.
No, thank you so much for the invitation. I am really sorry when I heard the comment about lunch. I was very sad not to be there with you and share this amazing networking lunch that you guys had. But yeah, no, as mentioned, unfortunately I'm on medical leave, but I'm happy to be here now, and I'm hoping to make the most of this small amount of time that I have with you. And I want to thank, of course, all of you in Lomartov, like for all, you're very, very helpful with all the adjustments. So yeah. Yeah, so I'm here representing HIVE Hydrogen, but before I talk specifically about the company, I would like to introduce a little bit more about me and why I'm here today. So my connection with solar chemicals in fuels is my PhD. So before I started working with HIVE, and I was already working connected to a couple of partners in the project, I was working in the Solar2Chem project, which was an European Marie Curie project consortium. And my job was to bridge the technical innovation with policy structures, industrial clustering, strategic foresight. And now I'm working as a consultant, bringing all this knowledge, of course, to HIVE Hydrogen. But in that time, I worked for 4 years, understanding the technology readiness, regulatory frameworks, the market formation, and helping translate this solar hydrogen concepts into more credible, hopefully scalable industrial pathways, and being this intersection of research, policy, and industry development, and the deployment of these technologies in the solar chemicals and fuels realm of technologies. So through the Solar2Chem project, I have not only been involved with the technical part of the analysis and with my colleagues developing reactors and catalysts for the photoelectrochemical systems, but also specifically, I was working on mapping how these technologies can scale up from laboratory concepts to medium and large scale industrial production. So during that time, I produced 3 articles that I would love to get a deeper review, but we don't have enough time for that. But I'm happy to be contacted later to expand on that. And these articles, they examined how green hydrogen and solar chemicals fuels, they interact with each other, and there is in the wider energy transition. So we are capable to identify individual and synergistic drivers that will be bringing these technologies closer to the market, as my colleagues are explaining and presenting today. So what I achieved back then and what I bring now for my consultant's role is that this understanding and the insights of different stakeholders and how all the little parts of the system on the technical side and on the stakeholder side, they really matter to make sure that we meet the market demand and that we keep this innovation ecosystem aligned. So just to show you, so exactly like my thesis was from green hydrogens to solar chemicals and fuels, assessing these strategic drivers from technology innovation. And I'm happy to discuss that in the future. I'm hoping to get this final publication soon also available. So hopefully we can discuss that the next time. But about HIVE, then HIVE enters my life. And that's why I'm here today to introduce you the company, which is a company that is a startup organization with more than 60 years of hydrogen experience, and it was established in 2021. And we have offices in Galway, where I am based, and Berkshire in the UK. So that's why the conversation today we look a bit more to the UK and to the Irish market, and I brought a couple of highlights for you. So by utilizing this whole system approach, HIVE Hydrogen helps customers understand where they fit in the hydrogen value chain and what they are missing and how to achieve their ambitions and their potential. So we have this technology neutral approach that identify the most suitable technologies and processes to maximize our customers' business cases and achieve maximal decarbonization. So of course, that is the overall goal. And to reach that, we have been engaging with a couple of projects that I'm going to be individually presenting to you on acting as hydrogen vehicle aggregator, really close to the development or refueling stations and providing for that, and working also in developing business model to our developers and having this storage as a service. So our missions and what we try to do in the company is understanding that green energy, we can find different applications and different technologies to make sure the green energy is the one that is used by our partners, to make sure that this hydrogen is transported, delivered, and fully sustainable to our partners as well, to make sure that we understand how the carbon emission savings and how to help our partners decarbonize their industries and their needs. And we, as I said, we have very different and very interesting mix of skills in our team, and we use that, of course, to try to make the systems of our clients more integrated and make sure that we have, as I said, this perspective where we are not favoring technologies just by favoring. We are technology neutral, and that's why we have the flexibility in our projects to go to more innovative or more mature technologies as well, as we are discussing today. So this is our team, and as I said, so I'm really happy to have Diana, Ian, Josh, and team as directors of the company, and Kian as a consultant, working side by side to deal with the different demands that are provided by the projects that we connect. And it's this portfolio of skills that we have and the deep experience that we have throughout Europe. It's also brought by this collaboration with our sister company, High Energy. And with that, we are positioned in the center of the energy transition, and we connect this experience to make sure that we become these trusted advisors and specialists in the sector, as we have been doing for the past 10 years, and supporting different business and becoming really a channel to connect the multiple partners of the complex value chain that is developing hydrogen projects nowadays. So we bring this market insight, and yeah, as I said before, we have customers that range from all forms of industry, really strong connections with academia as well, as you saw, and also national governments. So our projects mixed it with our sister company as well. Like we have this plethora of companies, of projects, and HIVE is currently working with HISAS, and which is a hydrogen storage and service. And the HIDEA project as well is a project consortium of green hydrogen for marine energy and other renewable energies in ports in the Atlantic area. And also we have Shamrock, which is the project that is closer to my daily tasks. So just to bring you a little bit of an overview of what's happening in Ireland. So in July of 2023, we got our national strategy for hydrogen, and one that I was lucky enough with my colleague Ian to participate in the consultation and in the submission of the consultation phase with our peers from the University of Galway. So it was a very, very interactive process. And then in 2025, like more recently, the Irish Department of Climate, Energy and Environment published this study to explore the potential for exporting hydrogen from Ireland to continental Europe. And I think that this document also makes a very clear statement on how we want to make sure that Ireland is seen by the other partners in Europe as a force in hydrogen production, hopefully in the next decades. And that's a very important point at the moment, because now Ireland is entering preparation months for taking the seat in the presidency of the European Council, and we have really high hopes that hydrogen can play a key part in our national ambitions for renewable energy and for reaching all the targets as Ireland is really working hard to reach. So as I said before, the main project, the project that I work in and the project that is part of one of the main projects of the HIVE portfolio at the moment is the Shamrock project. And the Shamrock project is coordinated by the University of Galway, and it has HIVE as one of the deployment partners. So we are helping Shamrock deliver the infrastructure in Ireland. So the project commenced in 1st of January in 2024 and is a 5-year program with a total budget of 54 million euros. And it has 28 partners from 12 countries and 12 Irish partners. And these partners are really connected to allow the project to connect Ireland, as you can see in this map. So I'll go to the phase 1 in a minute, but just to show you on the left corner, you have how the project's going to go. So we are using the green electricity produced in Count Offaly, which is, as you can see, more closer to the center of Ireland. And then we are producing the hydrogen and dispensing it at a port of Galway, which is on the west of Ireland. And in our phase 1, that our expectations is exactly the deployment of a 4 megawatts electrolyser, at least 500 tons per year of hydrogen with 3 tube trailers, is a project that is really focused on the transportation and making sure that the corridors of Ireland are interconnected. And we have our partners, as I mentioned before, being the ones creating this logistic with the trucks, with the coaches, with the vans, and also working with stationary fuel cell. So how it's going to go, just very briefly on a more technical part of it, you can see that the hydrogen production, as I said, in Galway, and then you have the part of the hydrogen distribution. And of course, we are also involved in the compression, storage and dispensing. So the whole infrastructure of that process, and having the hydrogen refueling stations, the trailers, and being the people that are behind this contract alignment. And on top of these benefits that I have on the slide, of course, but we know that more importantly, it creates hydrogen demand for a country that is starting to build this this consumption, the production of hydrogen. So it spreads risk for individuals, logistic companies, which is something that a lot of companies fear at this kickstarting moment. It maximizes hydrogen demand for the project, enables evaluation of different business models as well, tailored for the different companies and the different needs that this hydrogen will be used in the future. And to close my presentation, I hope you guys can hear. Please let me know if something goes wrong with the audio, but I have a short video that explains a bit more about the project. That's it. So thank you so much for your attention. I wish we could discuss more on the break, but unfortunately I won't be there. So I'm making my email available here. And of course, the guys in Lomartov will have my contact, and please get in touch if you have any questions about our projects, about our portfolio, and how we can help our company, your company, also to achieve its hydrogen targets. And this is our LinkedIn page as well, so please connect with us. And thank you very much.
Thanks to you, Julia. Thank you very much, Julia, for making it possible to be here. We'll welcome you for sure in the next workshop, and yes, we also wish you a fast recovery. So it was very interesting to hear also from your side how, starting from a European project with Solar to Chem, you were able to switch to the industry, and which allow you also to support an industrial partner to get more clients on board for the hydrogen, and develop new business model for this very important product for the energy transition. So thank you very much for presenting us your experience. And now I welcome on stage our last speaker for this session. So I welcome José Alfredo Lana from ENAGAS. Thank you. And you should have the pointer.
Thank you, Evelina. Thank you. Well, first of all, I would like to thanks to Lomartov for inviting me to this workshop. Normally I'm not used to participate in this type of workshops, and I enjoy it a lot. I learned a lot about photocatalysis. So I have some idea about what this is, but was the first time I am in front of so many nice information and useful information. Thank you. Well, now I'm going to talk to you about something completely different to the rest of the workshops. I'm not going to talk to you about producing hydrogen. I am going to talk to you what are the plans in Spain for moving the hydrogen for the production side to the consumption one. So, well, I work in ENAGAS Transporte. ENAGAS is a company with more than 50 years of experience. We are with this called a midstream company, and we are the responsible for moving natural gas. We move natural gas from our importation pipeline, mainly from Africa, but also like liquefied natural gas from the different liquefied LNG terminals around the Spanish coast, and we move around the territory to the big consumption sites, the cities, and also exporting to Europe. The focus of my company is, we have at this moment a dual purpose, the guarantee of security of energy supply. We can say that never has failed the supply of natural gas in Spain. During the blackout last April in Spain, everybody has not electricity, but people that has gas at home could have a hot meal. So at the same way, we are compromised with the acceleration of the carbonization process. First, using natural gas, that is the less CO2 emitter fossil fuel, but also trying to help to the development of renewable gases. Well, basically, this is our network. This is the different assets that ENAGAS has in the world. We are mainly focused in Spain and Europe. In Spain, we have more than 11,000 kilometers of pipelines. We have a participation in 6 LNG terminals, and also we are operating 3 underground gas storages. Also, ENAGAS is the technical system operator of the gas system. And in the future, as most of our colleague companies in Europe, we want to be the hydrogen transmission network operator. When we talk hydrogen transmission network operator, we're talking about transmission at high pressure, about 70 bar or more. At this moment, we have the title of provisional hydrogen transmission network operator, but we are confident to be confirmed in the future as the final HTNO. Well, I will talk more about this later. And all this information is in my presentation that is available for Lomarto, so you will have access to that. So let me go directly to the content of my presentation. I will start with the 2023 call for interest launched by ENAGAS. This call for interest was the base for the designing of all the infrastructure for hydrogen needed in Spain. In this call for interest, we asked to the market for what was the production forecast and the consumption. We have a high participation and support for the whole sector. In fact, we have more than 200 companies go to the call for interest. It was a non-bidding call for interest, only for information. And we collect information for more than 650 projects. 60% of the project was hydrogen production, 20% was consumption, and 50% for trading. This was an open, transparent, and non-discriminatory process, audited and verified by an external company, and all the information was on a confidential basis. Only some people in my company know the details, but there are many public information. In my presentation, all these links go to different documents in which you can find more information about the content of the different slides. Well, in this call for interest, in the Horizon 2030, we discovered that there was a lot of hydrogen available in Spain. In the most optimistic scenario, we have almost 8 million tons per year of hydrogen that companies promise to produce. We know that this is not real, so we go for what we call the call for interest scenario. This was more mature projects who show more information, seems to be more powerful. And in this case, we have 2.5 million tons per year. At the end, we have the basic scenario that are the more real projects. We can say that they were more serious, that in any way is 1.6 million tons of year of hydrogen produced in Spain. Almost all of this hydrogen will be produced by water electrolysis. For that, all the scenarios has attached an amount of electrolyzers installations. And also we discover the estimated energy domestic consumption, so I mean the consumption of hydrogen in Spain, that is in the worst case 1 million tons. That is about the current, I think currently we are consuming 600,000 tons of hydrogen per year. All this hydrogen, or most of the hydrogen, is produced through natural gas water reforming. Well, and this is what we discover, considering the intermediate scenario. The hydrogen in Spain has been produced in all the territory. And Spain is one of the highest countries in Europe, and as you see, all the territory, mainly inside the territory, is where we are discover, or the market give us information about hydrogen production sites. But if we go to the consumption, we see that the consumption are mostly in the coast. That is logical. Here we have big refineries, steel and more refineries, chemical industry, more refineries, a big refinery here. So we see that between production and consumption there is no a mismatch. So we start to design what we call the Spanish hydrogen transmission network, or Spanish hydrogen transmission backbone. And this is what we are working now. This is our preliminary backbone. All the information is also public in this document. You can find more information. We have 5 axes from, we call Ruta de la Plata, from Huelva in the Atlantic coast to Gijón in the North Atlantic coast, crossing all the west part of Spain, Cantábrico in the north coast of Spain, Valle del Ebro Valley, from the Atlantic coast to the Mediterranean coast, through the Mediterranean Ebro Valley. Here there are big production, here there are big production sites of hydrogen, also here. And then we have the Mediterranean axis and the Castilla-La Mancha axis. That is important because in Puerto Llano there is a big refinery that will be a big consumer of hydrogen. These are the preliminary diameters of the pipeline. You can see that we are not talking about tubing, we are talking about very big pipelines. The design pressure is about 100 bar, so it's high pressure. And attached to this, we have 3 compressor stations that are needed to move the gas, the hydrogen, around the network, and 1 salt cover underground scenario. This is what we call a PCI scenario. PCI is the acronym of Project of Common Interest. This is because all this infrastructure are included in the first European list of projects of common interest for hydrogen and has received set funds for the engineering works. At this moment, we are working in the detailing engineering of all this network. In parallel, at this moment, we have carried out the conceptual plan for public participation of Spanish backbone. This is the first time that is done in Spain. We are presenting this network to all the stakeholders. That means 30 autonomous communities, 25 provinces, more than 500 municipalities. And this network has 2,600 kilometers, divided in 15 sections and 5 axes. For this, we are going to a public consultation. We are presenting the project to the public and receiving inputs, comments, claims, etc. And this is compulsory according to the regulation for receiving the funds. But as you have seen, we have detected 2.3 million tons of hydrogen. and in the consumption in Spain is only 1 million tons. What we will do with the rest? The idea is to export to Europe using the link H2Med. H2Med is a collaboration between Portugal, Spain, France, and Germany to export hydrogen from the Iberian Peninsula, Spain and Portugal, to Central Europe. For that, we have a connection with Portugal, H2Med axis called CELSA, from Celorico in Portugal to Zamora in Spain. From here, we import about 750,000 tons per year of hydrogen from Portugal. And with this is another branch, H2Med, Barmar, from Barcelona to Marseille, we will export 2 million tons per year of hydrogen to France, and from France through the European network to the heart of Europe. Germany needs a lot of Europe and is fully supporting this initiative. Well, this corridor is part of what is called a European Hydrogen Highway and has been included in the Energy Highways and EU Grids package. This is a recent regulation in which the European Union had identified the network for different types of energy, natural gas, electricity, and hydrogen. And H2Med and the Spanish network is included in this package as a key piece for the future of the energy in Europe. This means that this project will have, which is called a fast track, because they are seen like real and tangible. The Commission wants to see real and tangible progress, and for that they will help in all the permitting and regulatory processes to build the infrastructure. And I think this is my last slide. This is the addition to the Spanish backbone. In blue is what I presented, but we have not only focused on the pipelines with European funds, we have studied additional necessities for Spain, and we have seen 4 additional pipelines needing to connect another part of Spain or to reinforce the network. For this infrastructure has been included in what is called the 10-year network development plans. That is an obligation for the European TSOs, transmission system operator, of planning what are the needs for the next 10 years. This has been included in the last edition. And the goal for ENAGAS is to submit these pipelines to the next list of projects of common interest in Europe with of course, we are optimistic to get additional funds for supporting us in the construction of the work. The estimated budget, but please take in brackets because can be changes, is that more than 2,500 million euros of investment in Spain, and more about 2,000 million euros for the construction of the H2Med pipelines. Mainly because this branch that is a subsea and offshore pipeline is far more expensive than an onshore pipeline. And that's all. I open for your question.
Thank you very much, Mr. Alfredo, for your great presentation, for streaming us from the production to the consumption, and to really give us a realistic vision and also a visual map of the current hydrogen market and the production potential and also the domestic consumption. I think it was very interesting to see what is the hydrogen potential, and yes, to have this in such interesting numbers. So we've come now to the end of this session, and I think we can open the space for questions, both from the audience here and also, as always, online to our beloved Slido. So do we have questions here from the room for our speakers? Yes, we do have one question there, if we can bring the microphone. So I take first, I would say one question from the room and one question from Slido. Yes.
Thank you. My question is for the first talk about the CO2 to CO. What's the purity of CO2 you need for your technology?
That's a very good point. So basically it depends on what impurities we are talking about. So there are the typical or usual suspects like the sulfur-containing compounds. They have to be removed, such as in the case of any catalytic technology. But for example, for oxygen, it's quite tolerant. So it's decreasing the efficiency in a way that you are reducing oxygen instead of CO2, but the system keeps working without any problem. You don't, with inert gases like hydrogen, CO, nitrogen, argon, we can have a lot. So having 70-80% CO2 in the mix is enough. The only thing is that those typical suspects like the sulfur-containing ones, they have to be removed. Yeah. And I might respond the other one, which is on the screen.
Sure, you can go ahead. Thank you.
Actually, yes. So there are two things to consider. One is the price of CO made by incumbent technologies, like from steam methane reforming, and that really depends on the region where we are. So in countries where there is cheap natural gas, their CO is cheap. In countries where there is no cheap natural gas, CO is expensive. That's one thing. The other thing is how much it costs to make the CO with our technology, and that's mostly dictated by the electricity price, as the question also alludes to. And this is where intermittent renewable energy comes into play. That one big benefit of low temperature electrolysis is that we can very rapidly turn on and turn off the technology, so we can really use the technology in those times when electricity is cheap. And if we consider a capacity factor of 40 to 50%, then it can already be competitive, yes.
Great. And we do have another question on Slido. So for Julia Machado and also the other companies, how much hydrogen do you produce per year in Ireland to date? Also, how many electrolyzers do you operate in Ireland to date? No, but Julia, it's not online anymore, so I'm afraid that this question will remain open. I don't know if the other colleagues, so José Alfredo and Csaba, if you maybe want to answer for your cases for sure. I mean, adapted to the Spanish market and also...
Well, in principle, there are not significant challenges. We are dealing with a gas. We know that although everybody said that the calorific value of hydrogen is higher in weight than any other fuel, unfortunately we are transporting a gas and the calorific value is 3 times less than the natural gas. So for transporting the same amount of energy, we have to transport 3 times more gas. So the only problem will depend on the basis that we are talking about very big pipelines that unfortunately, and I was going to talk about this later, not all the technologies are completely ready, because at this moment nobody in the world has these plans for this type of infrastructure. But I think that, well, the challenge is that we need to build in very short time, because I don't mention, but the idea is to have our network ready by the beginning of next decade, 2032 perhaps. So we have to build the network in very few time, and in parallel with the rest of Europe, because the rest of Europe is also designing and constructing this infrastructure. But I don't see anything really challenging compared to natural gas. Of course, it's another gas. We have to take into account that it's more flammability limits are higher. There have another risks. We have to take care with another issue regarding materials, but everything is known for the industry, so we think we are ready to build the network.
Thank you very much. And I think we can move to the pool on Slido. We have an open question for all the audience. So which hydrogen production pathways are likely to be most relevant for your sector in the coming years? So we have low temperature electrolysis, waste to hydrogen technologies, high temperature electrolysis, photoelectrochemical technology, or not applicable to my activity. It seems that we have a winner, so low temperature electrolysis. Okay, so not many people may be working on hydrogen production, but we also have high temperature electrolysis. People working with this technology in the room and online. Photoelectrochemical, of course. Waste to hydrogen technologies too, but I would comfortably say that most of us work with low temperature electrolysis. This is at least 55% of the room, yes. I think we can fairly say that this is the most relevant technology for your sector then. Okay, well, I'll also give you something to talk about during the coffee break that we will have now, just to recharge a little bit your energy with a stronger coffee before our last session, which is a panel discussion. So a really live discussion with different actors from the industry to go in deep with all the sectors that we've seen today, all the subjects that we have seen during the day, from research to applications. So I really think it will be very interesting. So thank you all for being here. We'll have a coffee break outside, a short coffee break for the people online. I also remember, as always, to have a look at our innovation workshop of HIVE project, which will be online, and I will see you back at 4 o'clock. Thank you.